Hi again, everybody. This is Dr. Shawn with the Gait guys. I'm here today in Chicago at my home, and I'm here with a friend of mine, Jack Driggs. Jack just graduated from New York High School and is on his way to
the University of North Carolina.
North Carolina. And this is state champ, right?
Yep.
What were your times?
4:08 for the full mile, 9:06 for the 2 mile, and 15:05 for the 5K.
Okay. And what's your PR for the mile?
4:08.
4:08. So we got a pretty fast dude here today. And I was watching Jack run the other day, and I noticed that there's a little bit of a pathologic gait here. And when we say pathologic, we say I like to term that as anything that's off of biomechanically neutral or perfect. Not that there's anything truly pathologic, meaning diseased or wrong with it, but there's something that could be efficiently improved upon. And this one he's got a very mild crossover gait, and the crossover gait entertains the frontal plane a little bit more than normal. So I'm just going to step back. Let's move over for a second there, Jack. And so when you take a step, you'd like your foot, your knee, and your hip to be right over top of each other and then progress right forward into the next step. In Jack's case, and in a lot of people's cases, there's a little bit of glute medius weakness, and it allows you to entertain the frontal plane. Running is a very sagittal plane sport, and a lot of the times the speed and pathology can be improved upon, pathology can be averted by reducing frontal plane or axial plane engagement. So if you were to take a step and the hip were to go outside of the foot line, you'd be moving in the frontal plane when you actually want to be progressing forward. This eats up time, it eats up energy, and it can make tissues work differently than they're supposed to. So if you were to take a step and you were to actually take a normal step, taking a step, lifting your hip, that helps get your hip over top of your foot. You'll see on my hip line here, if I take a step, engage my right glute medius and come up and over, this hip actually comes in. If I do not engage this glute medius and I take a step and I deviate out, you'll see this hip drop. Now, if this leg is in the air, and there's a rule that we have here at the Gait guys, when your foot is on the ground, the glute is in charge, and when your foot is in the air, meaning the swing side leg, your abdominals are in charge. So if my right foot is on the ground, I'm taking a step, my glute is in charge. As soon as I depart off of this side, my abdominal is now in charge to help control the swing phase. If I'm into my glute medius properly, you'll see that the swing phase on this left leg here is straight forward, and there's a nice gap between my knee. Okay? If you're not into your glute medius enough, you will see a frontal plane shift. And you notice that if I'm in my swing phase and I see a frontal plane shift, you'll notice that these two knees approximate each other. If that leg is coming from here to here as I'm moving forward, you're going to see a crossover gait. Okay? Now the crossover can be truly dysfunctional in the point where you're seeing literally them running on a line, or it can be mildly so where you see a bit of a sweeping gait. So they'll take a step, they'll drop a little bit, the leg will come around and they'll sweep as opposed to pulling straight through and dorsiflexion and coming through, which is perfect. You want to keep that sagittal progression. Step, dorsiflex the ankle, stay in your glute medius, keep into your abdominals and move into the next step. Okay? Bit of a crossover there because I'm a little unstable in a slow pattern, but pathologic gait, standing, you start to lose this, you move into your swing phase, the knee comes in. A lot of these clients will scrape here down at the foot ankle level, and that can create a problem in that you can create some tendon issues by continuously striking here. Some people just notice the friction on the shoe, and you'll notice some scuff marks on the inside of the heel with a crossover gait. That can be an indicator that you've got a mild gait. Certainly if you feel the knees rubbing, then that's an issue. So taking a step, pathologically, the hip goes outwards, the knee, as soon as it goes into swing, drops in, and you cross over. Obviously, you're walking on a line, you're slightly unstable, so you're going to try and make a correction, and you start to actually perpetuate step after step to try and maintain your balance. Because as we know, running is a single leg stance at one at a time, so you're really trying to maintain your balance. The wider the base of anything, the more stable it is. So we're going to see on Jack a very mild crossover. Now, obviously this guy's fast, there's no question. So the question is, he's injury-free and he's fast, do you change it? Well, that's the big question. If you know what you're doing and you can make him more efficient, not only can you make him faster, you can stop the frontal plane engagement, you can get him moving sagittally quicker. My goal will be to increase his rigidity during stance, and you can probably prevent some injuries down the road. This always poses the question, well, he's not injury-free right now, do I monkey with his gait? Well, you certainly might not want to do this during the season, because there's going to be a learning curve in improving this. But we've got him between seasons right now. He's on his way to North Carolina, and we'd like him to be running faster. He's going to be getting stronger. He's going to be putting more miles on. So the risks are increasing as you get stronger, run faster, more miles. The risk for injury slightly does increase, so why not improve his mechanical efficiency as best we can? So what we're going to do right now is we're going to watch him run his normal stride, and then we're going to take you guys through the cues that I gave him the other day. Now, I saw him once for this, so there may be a little bit of trickle over. He's got a very high learning curve. He may already made some correction, but hopefully not. And then we can take him through some correction. You'll be able to see a reduction in his frontal plane engagement, and hopefully we can get him to a point where we can reduce his crossover. And then we'll ask him how he feels. So, Jack, why don't you just take a step right here and... Okay, you can go ahead and just pace it out. Yeah, just your old, yep. So we see a little bit of a wobble there. There's a little bit of frontal plane. The hips are moving just a little bit frontally. So let's go ahead and do that one more time, Jack.
Okay.
I can see you've already corrected a little bit, but we'll fix it. Look at the knees. There's a little bit of spacing. He was worse yesterday. This is only actually 2 days ago. There's already an improvement, but I think we can get it better. So as he's coming back, watch. His hips are just going to be kind of dancing a little bit side to side in the frontal plane. And you don't see as much space between the knees as you'd like. A little bit of crossover. It's actually pretty darn good. So let's go ahead now, Jack, and come on here. So what we did the other day is we had Jack taking some steps, and I had him plant and do a lift, and plant and do a lift, and plant and do a lift, plant and do a lift. So when he's standing, he's getting into his glute. He's drawing up the opposite stance phase with the abdominal. And so it's going to look a little bit like I call a penguin walk. There's a bit of this thing here, and that gets him into the right movement pattern. We'll just have him increase a little bit, and we'll see what happens with his run. So, Jack, why don't you just stand there and give us a little bit of that correction, maybe for 15 or 20 steps, and then let it rip.
Okay.
At the back end, at the end of the driveway, go ahead and do it again, and then come back again. Pull the leg straight through. So he's going to do the correction, as I call the penguin walk, to try and get him into his glute medius and his abdominals, and we're going to try and get him into a perfect 4-foot load. That's better. Nice separation between the knees there. Boy, that looked really good. That looked really nice. Do it one more time and give me a little bit more glute.
Okay.
So in other words, as you stand on that leg, make it stiffer,
Okay.
and try and really get into the glute. You looked really good at the beginning. As your speed picked up, you lost it, but that's normal to lose a little bit of function. You're just learning skill now, and as soon as we add speed, you lose the skill a little bit. So that was nice. One more time.
I know I lost a little bit.
It's okay. It's good that you recognize you lost it. It's hard. It's a new skill. Once you get it, though, then we can add endurance and strength to it, and it's going to be yours.
Okay.
As with all of these new patterns, you got to teach the skill first. What we're doing here is almost unfair, but this kid is a real athlete, and you can see it. Look at that perfect knee and leg alignment. Man, that's just what you want to see. the younger your clients, the faster these guys will grab onto a new pattern. Their body hasn't been that pathologic for that long, and they haven't been into that gait pattern long enough, although he's probably got thousands upon thousands of miles into this. It's a little harder to get these patterns back with adults, but it does come, and we do it every day with our clients and our runners. So in this case, you can see a pathologic pattern. You can be injury-free, and yet you can still improve the mechanical efficiency. Did you feel stronger? What did you feel there?
Yeah, definitely a lot more explosive.
A lot more explosive. So it makes sense. We're making, instead of him taking a step and collapsing into pronation and bad patterning, okay, where the knee collapses in, the hip is going out, you're absorbing energy as opposed to making the limb more rigid and then being able to push off. And that's our goal, is to move through the sagittal plane as rigid as you can with the least number of cheating mechanisms biomechanically as you can, and then go from there and then slowly build on the pattern. Sometimes you need to build one thing at a time. You know, if you were to be doing a lunge, you'd probably see him taking a step, and you'd see the knee come in and the glute come out, or a single leg stance where they would come down, and you'd see this pattern here, as opposed to seeing the knee and the hip come down, getting into your glute medius, coming down into your lunge where the knee tracks over the second toe, which is midline. You're into your abdominals, you're into your glute, as opposed to pathologic dropping out to the side. To see people doing their lunges like that, as opposed to doing their lunge where they can keep into their glute medius, track straight forward. Okay, so we're going to turn this off and get Jack into a different pair of shoes here that I wanted to try. But this is Dr. Allen with the Gait guys. This is
Jack Driggs.
Jack Driggs, now of North Carolina, and we just made Jack faster. Have a good day, everybody. All right, let's try these things out and see what they feel like.
Okay.